the wall. Who is the fairest of them all?
Snow White.
Hey everyone, welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. Today, we're diving deep into the ending of Snow White 2025, Disney's highly anticipated live-action remake of the classic fairy tale. This version has been met with tons of controversy and discussion, so we're here to break down what happens in the final act, why it's different from the original, and why some fans are calling it a disaster. First things first, let's talk about what we've all been waiting for, the ending. If you've seen the movie, you know that it's a fresh take on the story, staying true to the heart of the original, but with some pretty bold updates. And if you haven't seen it, well, get ready, because spoilers are coming. Snow White's transformation into queen. Let's start with Snow White herself. In this version of the tale, Snow doesn't just get saved and married off to a prince at the end. Oh no, this Snow White is all about empowerment. When she's finally revived by true love's kiss, yes, we still get that classic moment. It's just the beginning of her journey. Unlike the animated version, where Snow White is mostly a passive character, this Snow White takes charge and rises to power. Once Snow wakes up, she doesn't just return to the castle to live happily ever after. Instead, she confronts the evil queen head-on. Snow White isn't just fighting for her life, she's fighting for the future of the kingdom. This moment marks a huge shift in her character, transforming her from the helpless princess of old into a leader capable of uniting her people and ruling with fairness and kindness. The movie ends with Snow becoming the queen of the kingdom, something that feels like a much more modern, empowering conclusion to the story. Now, this transformation isn't just about Snow taking the throne. It's about her embodying the values of fairness and justice that her parents instilled in her. Throughout the film, Snow is shown to be a compassionate character, someone who is willing to stand up for the common people and fight against tyranny. It's clear that Snow has grown beyond just being a pretty face. She's someone worthy of the title fairest in the land, not just for her beauty, but for her leadership and moral compass. The evil queen's demise. Now let's talk about the evil queen. In the 1937 version, her death was a simple affair. She fell off a cliff while trying to attack the dwarfs. But in the 2025 version, her demise is much more dramatic and mystical. The evil queen, played by Gal Gadot, spends the entire movie scheming to have Snow White killed, primarily out of jealousy. She's obsessed with being the fairest in the land and can't handle the idea that Snow White has surpassed her in beauty. This leads to the classic poisoned apple scene where Snow White takes a bite and falls into an eternal sleep. However, this Snow White isn't just saved by a kiss and then swept off her feet by her prince. Instead, the film shifts the focus to Snow herself, allowing her to take control of her fate. After Snow is revived, the film takes an unexpected turn. Snow White doesn't just sit back and let the prince take the spotlight. She confronts the evil queen directly. In a powerful moment, Snow publicly exposes the queen's crimes in front of the kingdom, demanding justice. The evil queen, in a fit of rage, shatters the magical mirror, and that's when things get even more intriguing. Instead of simply dying like in the original, the evil queen's death is tied to the magic of the mirror. As she shatters it, she crumbles into ash. But it's not just her body that turns to dust. The shards of the mirror quickly reassemble themselves, and Snow, along with the audience, gets a brief glimpse of something darker behind the mirror. There's a void, almost like another realm or dimension, where the queen's essence is dragged. It's a haunting image, one that leaves us with more questions than answers about the nature of the mirror and the magic in this world. This mysterious moment suggests that there's more to the magic than we've been led to believe, and it leaves open the possibility that the queen's death might not be the final word on her power. It's an intriguing way to wrap up her storyline, and it adds a layer of complexity to the world building in this version of Snow White. The dwarfs and their role now. Let's talk about the dwarfs. In the 1937 animated film, they were pretty much secondary characters who helped Snow White after she fled the queen's castle. But in this version, the dwarfs, especially Dopey, get some character development, which is a nice change. Throughout the film, the dwarfs are portrayed as magical creatures who've lived in isolation for centuries. They've avoided humans because of their fear and mistrust. But by the end of the film, They've become an integral part of Snow's journey. They're no longer just bystanders in her story. They're active participants in her victory. One of the most touching moments comes with Dopey, who, in a surprising twist, finally speaks. Dopey has been a mute character throughout the film, but in the finale, he speaks in support of Snow White. It's a powerful moment that shows how much the dwarfs have grown. They're no longer isolated creatures. They've found a place within the kingdom, united with the people they once feared. But here's the kicker. Dopey is revealed to have been the narrator of the entire story. All along, he's been telling Snow White's tale to the audience, offering insights into her journey. This gives the dwarfs a sense of agency that they didn't have in the original film, and it's a great way to tie up their character arcs while also giving them a place in the larger community.
Snow White.
This could be so much fun.
The controversies surrounding the film now. We can't talk about Snow White without addressing some of the controversies that have surrounded the film. From casting choices to changes in the story, this remake has sparked a lot of debate among fans. First off, the casting of Rachel Zegler as Snow White was met with mixed reactions. Some fans were excited to see a fresh face in the role, while others felt that Zegler didn't fit the traditional look of Snow White. Zegler's own comments about the original 1937 film didn't help either. She called it weird and outdated, and she made it clear that her version of Snow White wouldn't dream about true love the same way the original Snow did. This caused a lot of fans to feel like Disney was abandoning the classic themes of romance and fairy tale ideals, and the backlash was swift. Then there's the issue of the Seven Dwarfs. Originally, Disney announced that the dwarfs would be replaced with magical creatures to avoid stereotypes, but leaked set photos showed a diverse group of human actors playing the dwarfs, which led to criticism from both fans and disability rights advocates. The casting choice led to accusations of pandering and insensitivity, especially after Peter Dinklage, a well-known actor with dwarfism, publicly criticized Disney's handling of the characters. Finally, there's the issue of major story changes. In this version, Snow White's love story with the prince is greatly reduced, and the focus shifts more towards her role as a leader. While some viewers appreciated this modern take, others felt that Disney was straying too far from the source material, turning the classic fairy tale into something that didn't quite resemble its origins. The fate of a sequel. So with all these changes and updates to the original story, does Snow White set up a sequel? Honestly, it doesn't feel like the kind of story that begs for a follow-up. The ending is pretty conclusive. Snow White becomes the queen, the evil queen is defeated, and the kingdom is restored. The dwarfs are integrated into society, and Snow's love story reaches a satisfying conclusion. That said, there are some elements that could be explored in a potential sequel. The film hints at a rival kingdom to the south, and there's the possibility of exploring the rules of magic and what lies beyond the mirror. But for now, Snow White feels like a complete story.
This could be so much fun.
Our nerdy thoughts. So, what do we think of the Snow White 2025 ending? While it has its flaws and definitely strays from the original in some big ways, it's hard to call it a total disaster. It's an ambitious reimagining, one that takes the classic fairy tale and gives it a more modern and empowering twist. Sure, it's not going to be for everyone, and the controversies surrounding it can't be ignored, but there's no denying that this version of Snow White has something unique to offer. What did you think of the ending? Did you love the changes? Or were you hoping for something more faithful to the original? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more breakdowns of your favorite movies.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.